Welcome to Wavemakers, the podcast where we dive into the stories of bold thinkers, trailblazers, and innovators who are making waves in their communities, industries, and beyond. Together, we'll explore the ideas, challenges, and victories of people who are shaping the future. At Wavemakers, we bring you thought-provoking conversations with those who are pushing the boundaries, defying expectations, and creating impact in their own unique ways. While we're proudly produced by Rio Salado College, a place that values lifelong learning and community impact, this podcast isn't just about education. It's about real-world stories of passion, perseverance, and progress. So, if you're ready to dive deep into the big ideas and get inspired by those who are making waves, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the show. Today's guest is someone whose journey I have had the pleasure of following for a while now. He has been an entrepreneur, an author, he's worked in classrooms, and he's a recent college graduate. So I'd like to welcome to the show Frank Nino IV. Frank, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I can't wait.
You know, it's been about a year since we touched base, and I know a lot's happened since then. But maybe we could take a step back and talk about where your journey with Rio Salado College started and what happened next.
So it was 2019 when it started, and the reason I have to give a shout out to the principal that I worked for at the time. She kept encouraging me and pushing me to take some college courses. And the very first college that she suggested was Rio Salado. And so I thought about it for a while, and I was a little intimidated because of, my background and all of those things that played a part. And I decided to take a chance. That day, I had my all four of my kids, my youngest daughter, who is now going to be 9 years old. She was in diapers at the time. And then my other kids were with me. So it was me and four kids that packed up, came to the office of Rio Salado and here at this campus. And, I asked the front desk, and I was interested and said, hey, I would like to sign up for one class because I was, like I said, I was intimidated. And I said, I would like to sign up for one class. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who to talk to. I just know that I want to, sign up for a class. And then the rest is history. That's how it all began.
I love that you were so comfortable to bring everybody in. I've actually talked to other students who have done the same thing, pack everybody up. Let's go to the office and figure this out. You had your four kids at that time. Tell me a little bit about your life at that stage. I want the audience to understand. You mentioned your background and maybe being a little intimidated about coming in. I want our audience to understand where you came from. I mean, I already told them where you are now, but talk to them to share a little bit about that story.
So at that time, I had no college education, and I would be the first person in my family to attend college. So no one in my family has ever attended college. I didn't really know many members of my family because I grew up in group homes. So all the group homes that I bounced back and forth, growing up as a child, I didn't really have time to think about my future or college, during my teenage years. It was really just about surviving, right. Trying to survive and figure out, what's going to happen the very next day. And so I had my oldest son, Angel, who's 21 now. At the time, I was 19 years old. So I was a parent right away at 19. And so it was just a year after leaving the group homes, and I had no idea what I was doing. Didn't have much family. And so, everything that I was used to doing was working like a 9 to 5 job and just any job that I could find or scrape up to take care of my son and then my daughter at the time who was a newborn. It was all scary for me. So that's, with all of that mixed with not having a support system really, I had no idea, what to do when it came to enrolling in a college, and college wasn't even on my radar at that time.
You know, I think a lot of our audience might reflect on that same idea, that fear that if you didn't grow up with the concept of watching others go to college, hearing it from family members about going to college, that's kind of a scary step. You said that a principal really encouraged you. Was this a principal at a school you attended? Was this a principal at a school you were working at? Like, how did that come to be?
So it was a principal at a school that I worked at, and so the principal that I was getting to know, she's a great person. She did a lot of mentoring, and her and I had similar past and had a lot of things in common, and so she started noticing certain things. I don't know. She's very intelligent, highly intelligent, and very observant. And so one of the questions she asked me have you ever gone to college? And I was honest and said no. College is just not for me. And those were my exact words. College is not for me. Apart from not having the support system, one of the things that came to mind and that really stopped me from like a barrier that came between me and enrolling in college was the money. I always had the misconception of, oh, it's too expensive. I don't have the money for that. So it's just not for me. And so when she talked to me and spoke to me about the FAFSA and the, federal aid and the scholarships and how to go about it, she really broke it down in terms to where I could understand. And when she did that, and she kept pushing me more and more, in a graceful way, not in a not in a very aggressive way, but just in a very graceful way. That's when I decided on my own and decided to take the chance. And at that particular day, like I said, I had all my kids with me. I was working 2 jobs at the time, and I think I was just exhausted from working 2 or 3 jobs from the time that I was, 18 up until that point. And I was about 33, 34 at the time. And so from that time until 33 to 34, I've worked 2 or 3 jobs just to stay afloat and give my kids the life that I wanted to give them, which was better than mine.
What a great story to continue sharing with them too. What was that first class? And tell me, what was it like, that first class? How did you do? How did you organize yourself and put that effort forth while raising the kids?
So the first class that I took was it was like a health and fitness, like a wellness class. And so because I was used to being a PE teacher for so long and an athletic director, that was the first thing that caught my mind. I had no idea if it was a class that was, used towards my degree. I didn't even have an idea of what degree I wanted or anything like that. I just wanted to take the class to see if I could accomplish it. And so I took the class, and it was a lot easier than I thought. And all my fears kind of just went down when I took the class. And when not only did I take it, but I stuck with it and I passed it with an A.
Oh,
And
wow.
so when I received the A, it gave me the confidence. It gave me kind of that reassurance of, wow, this is not too difficult. Like, you can do this. And that's what started rolling the ball from there on out.
Tell me what happened next. You're 33 years old. You take that first class. A lot has happened since then. So when did you finally finish your degree from Rio? And then you brought in a little piece of hardware to show us a brand new degree too. So tell me what took place there.
So I decided to take 2 or 3 more classes. I wasn't ready for a full slate because I was still, somewhat intimidated, and I just wanted to make sure that this is exactly what was for me, that I could actually do it. Because I didn't have the confidence there growing up the way that I did. And so when I took the next semester, I started in 2019. And then I took the next semester, took about 2 or 3 more classes. And after that semester, when I was done, I had all A's. And so it just really built my confidence. And I said, you know what? I can work 2 jobs and I can take a full time, go as a full time student, which is, 4 classes or more. And so I decided to enroll in 4 classes the following semester. And then when I found out that I could take classes in the summer, because I didn't know that the first year, when I figured it out, I did 4 classes every semester, including the summer, and I just hammered it out. It was just something that brought me alive. It literally brought me alive.
Okay, so this inspiring story is one of the reasons we chose to feature you in a recent campaign. Yeah. So encouraging to hear the story, for others to hear the story. When we approached you to be part of that campaign, what was your initial thought?
My initial thought was me, like me, like are you sure you're talking to the right person? Are you sure you want me to campaign in it? And so, that was my initial thought. But after a while of thinking and just being grateful for the opportunity, I told myself, why not? Why not? You've come this far, and every obstacle that's come in your way, you've overcame with the help of God and the help of others. And so, why not? This is another door, another opportunity. I didn't even really think of myself. It was more so for other people that were like me, people that, because I know a lot of people that I grew up with, and I still keep in touch with a lot of people that grew up in the same neighborhoods or the same way of just going to, work right after high school, or some that didn't graduate from high school like I didn't. I obtained my GED first. And so I started thinking, wow, maybe I can help other people that are in the same boat to, diminish those fears or those false things that sometimes come in our brain or our mind about school being expensive or it just not being my thing or, something along those lines. And then that is what really encouraged me, knowing that I could help other people.
That's one of the reasons why we wanted to also bring you back. You've done a lot in the community to continue encouraging others. I know you've worked with young people and mentoring. And when you finished your degree with Rio, you decided to go forward and get a bachelor's degree. When did you finish your degree with Rio? And then what did you do next with, I believe it's Northern Arizona University?
Yes. So I finished my first associates at Rio in 2023. I also have the 2 certificates, one in human resource management and the other one in organizational leadership here at Rio as well. And then when I got my second, I was talking to, at the time I was talking to my academic advisor for NAU when I was thinking about, going to NAU before I even started. And when I had told her that I was finishing my second associate degree here at Rio, she's like, "That's crazy. I don't know anyone that that's done 2 associates." So she was pretty excited to have me on board. And so 2024 is when I received my second associate and decided that I wanted to go to NAU. And so I started in the summer of 2024 for my bachelor's at NAU. And recently, in this past May, I graduated and I now have my bachelor's. Not only do I have my bachelor's, but I graduated with a 4.0 with a magna cum laude. And so I'm very proud of that.
As you should be. You know, we were talking before we came in. I asked you a question. When you look at your family, has anyone else done this?
And the answer is no. No one else
Wow.
has done this in my family. So I am literally paving the way for my, my family, my entire family. My kids, my now fiance, Christina,
Congratulations.
and also, everyone outside of that. So there's people in her family that are coming to myself or coming to her because she's enrolled in with the Maricopa Community Colleges, and so she's taking full on classes as well now. So there's people that are coming to both her and I that are in her family, and then now it's starting to spread with her friends who are asking us questions about attending and enrolling college and what that looks like.
You throw a pebble into a lake and it just spreads and spreads.
Yes.
And I know it reaches for you even beyond your family. So, the audience has heard the background, such an incredible story. You are paying it forward in a big, big way. What are you doing today?
So I am the proud founder and CEO of a few businesses. So one of them is Rising Sun Athletic League, which is kind of like my baby. We launched Rising Sun Athletic League in August of 2022. So the ironic part of that is when I was taking classes here at Rio Salado that were pertaining to business or sort of my degree, I was living that out in real life with real life application. So it was coinciding together, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful with with taking the classes and needing the knowledge and the resources and the skills that I obtained here at Rio Salado. I was literally using that for the business that I launched in 2022, which helped us to win a Toyota Award. We were featured on Channel 15, ABC News. And so all of those things happened because I had the tools here from Rio Salado that gave me the confidence, that gave me the love, the push, the drive, the go-getting spirit that I already have. It just it advanced that, by 100%. And I was in full throttle. And so, we have Rising Sun Athletic. We've got Rising Sun 360 Photography, which we go around to different events and, different places of business using the 360 photo booth. We customize the frames for people. So there's a lot of stuff we do. We also do apparel, so we're doing shirts as well. We have a new concept called the Hope Booth, which we are bringing to like group homes, or we would like to bring them to maybe some of the like jails or prisons in the Valley, nonprofit organizations that we want to be able to sponsor and bring this, this Hope Booth and have people hold signs that say hope or inspiration or I can do it, or things of that nature. So we got several things going on at the same time right now.
I see a theme running. Tell me a little bit about Rising Sun Athletics. You're working with children in after-school athletic programs. What age and why athletics? What about that what drives you in that area?
So that, I talked about that being like my baby, when it comes to all of the businesses that we have. So I grew up participating in whatever sports I was able to, because I grew up in group homes. A lot of times I didn't have the money, or we couldn't afford for myself to participate in after school sports. And so that's a big thing for me. I wanted to be able to participate in all these different types of sports for schools. And so as I got older, I realized that I wanted to offer something like this for kids that may be going through the same challenges of not, being able to participate in after school sports. And so this is geared towards charter schools. And so a lot of charter schools that are in Phoenix, particularly startup charter schools or new development charter schools, they don't have the resources. They don't have the opportunities. And so because I went to high school in charter schools, and so I'm familiar with both charter schools and wanting to play sports and not having that opportunity, I combined the two together, and I decided that I wanted to do something and give back to the community, to where we don't, as an organization, we don't charge the kids to participate in the sports league that we offer. So it's seasonal sports for middle school, 5th through 8th grade. And it's year-round with the exception of the summers. And so we just wanted to be able to have an outlet for kids that may not have the resources the way that I did not growing up as a kid.
What impact do you see happening from Rising Sun Athletics for the youth that you're working with?
I believe it's a great impact on the community because we teach so much more than the seasonal sports that we offer. There's little hidden messages and hidden things that I tried to put in as a storyteller and as an author. I like to have little messages in the things that we do when it comes to operating the games, or talking with the team and getting to know the kids on an individual basis, and asking them questions about how they feel. There's interviews that we've had with the kids and testimonies where we've had kids that have said, they were intimidated too, just like with me in college. And they didn't feel like they had the confidence to play sports. But after playing through, the league that they've participated in, their confidence grew. Their level of teamwork, of working together, of committing to something, of continuing to push themselves even when it's challenging. So there's all kinds of character traits that we try to put in there. And then when we talk about the plaques that we give specific names on the plaques and awards that they've won and things of that nature. And we want them to feel at home. We want them to understand all the hard work that they put in has rewards.
It sounds like some of the themes from the book you wrote, and maybe you could talk a little bit about that, are playing out as impacts with the youth of today that you're working with. Tell me a little bit about writing that book and what place it came from with you.
So the book that I wrote, the first book that I wrote, is called The Unbreakable Orphan. And the reason why I gave that title is because I wanted to show the world as well as my kids that no matter what comes my way, no matter what obstacles, that I'm going to keep going. And so when I wrote the book, it came from a place of really being transparent and vulnerable and talking about my childhood. So I have the Unbreakable 1 and I have the Unbreakable 2. The first one talks about my childhood and the struggles that I went through, and the challenges that I went through, but also the mentors that I encountered. And so that relates to Rising Sun Athletics. So the mentors that I encountered, they really grounded me and they helped me understand what life was truly about and, how to overcome these obstacles. And so when I spoke about, when I wrote about, my childhood in the first one, it was different challenges and how these mentors were sent to me, I believe, by God. And it talks about my relationship with God and how I, how I struggled, with all kinds of things in this world. But I kept going. I kept pushing myself. I kept going forward. And that's the key to any struggle or any obstacle that comes your way, is keep going forward. That's the message that I want to give to the kids out there, or anyone listening. It doesn't matter what storm that you encounter. If you keep pushing forward, it's eventually going to shine on the other side.
I absolutely love that. And it's so true, as you've demonstrated. You once told me I refuse to be defined by the negative influences surrounding me. And if you think now to where you were then, how would you define legacy today for you and what you're doing?
Well, I would have never, as a kid, I would have never imagined the way that my life has turned out so far at 40 years old. And so legacy for me is not just about the achievements and the great things that I've encountered, or the failures, because failures, I tend to gravitate towards the failures more than the success, because that really defines who you are. When you're facing a storm or you're facing failure, it builds you up, and it gives you an opportunity to see it as growth and not as failure. And so when you have a growth mindset, you start to understand that these are just lessons and ways to teach you to get better, to be better. And so the legacy that I want to be able to leave, for the world, but more importantly for my family and my kids, is it's not just about the success and the failures, but it's also about how you treat people, how you make people feel. And that's the kind of legacy that I want to leave. The slogan at Rising Sun Athletic is, "Where the unseen are seen." And so I want to be able to leave this world with the legacy of knowing that I made people feel seen and I made people feel heard. And that's the type of legacy I want to leave.
Just spending time with you, I have no doubt that that's the legacy you will leave. Before we end our session today, I just want to ask you, throughout what you've been through, do you have any advice that you would give someone maybe who feels stuck and in either a dark place or going through a challenging time frame? What advice would you give them to help them move forward? Someone maybe like yourself, early 20s, just not sure what to do next.
Yeah. So my advice would be just do it. Just do it. Don't waste your time. I mean, at 40 years old, or a lot of people, they tend to look back at their life and they think, man, if I would have, if I should have, I should have done this, or don't live life with regrets. Just do it. If it's something that intimidates you, or something that you feel like is going to be hard, that's because there's a reward on the other side of it. There's something there that's going to absolutely change your life. And a lot of times we allow our fears to define who we are, or to handicap us in so many ways. But if you just do it, or you go forward, like I talked about earlier, you're going to have all kinds of obstacles thrown at you, all kinds of things thrown at you, left and right, front and back, and, you name it. But if you just keep walking forward, and notice I didn't say run, if you just put one foot in front of your other foot at a time and take it day by day, you will get through what you're going through, and you will accomplish the things that you are afraid of. No doubt about it. It's not a race. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. And that's the lesson that I've learned. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what family situation you have. I had no family, and so it doesn't matter. None of those things matter. What situation you're in, or I can't do it because of this or this or this. It doesn't matter how you start. It matters how you finish. And so if you keep walking forward, you'll finish the race successfully.
Frank, thank you so much for being open and candid and sharing your extremely powerful story with us. Just like you inspired us in the past with allowing us to start telling your story, thank you for allowing us to continue telling your story.
Thank you for having me, and I'm honored and blessed, and I'm grateful to be here. So I always enjoy having a conversation with you, Michelle. So thank you.
Thank you, audience, for listening today, and tune back soon for another episode of Wave Makers.